Hey everybody, Griffin and Megan here for Polygon.com at E3 2016. Here to talk to you about Persona 5, which has, I think safe to say, a fairly light footprint here at E3 2016.
You see more of the Persona hats than you see of Persona.
A lot of hats, not a lot of new Persona 5 content. So here's the deal. There is a new 9-minute or so long video that they are showing on the front of the Atlus booth, showing off some gameplay stuff from Persona 5. We got a chance to check that video out with an Atlus representative who talked us through what was going on.
The game picks up again in April, about the same time most of the Persona games kick off.
Right. During the day you are a student. After school you can do different activities. We saw a few of those different activities, like part-time jobs, like working in a flower shop, working at a convenience store, which is basically 7-Eleven. Working in those can increase your stats. Non-combat stats are back, things like knowledge and guts and charm. There are several different areas that are modeled after real-life areas of Tokyo, including an area modeled after Shibuya, which is where we spend most of the time. Oh, they also went to a hot spring-style place.
How could we forget the hot springs?
Which I think increased your charm points, which, like, sure.
So a lot of the other daytime activities you can do are kind of similar to past Persona games. In this case, we went to a movie theater. We saw a movie with a bunch of people, which is pretty rad.
Your cat Morgana goes with you everywhere.
She's everywhere. Yeah, like you can see her like in the background. If you're like at work, she's like behind a fence, like
at
hanging
school.
out.
She's like hiding in your desk.
Another cool thing, as you're going throughout the game's world, you're getting little text messages from people. So these are things you can check and look at. I guess some of it you actually can respond to and give different dialogue choices, and some of it is just updates about what's going on or kind of reminders.
So the daytime stuff seems very, very similar. You have lots and lots of different things you can do once you're outside of school. Then the next part of the video that we saw was the nighttime cycle, in which you are in dungeons.
I think the coolest thing about the dungeons is that it seems to be very seamless. So we just saw, you know, the cast hanging out on the roof, and then they just
jumped right
transported
into
into the dungeons.
Dungeon, yeah. Unlike Persona 4 Golden, in which you have a fairly loose time frame in which you can do things. You have to get something done before the fog rolls in. In Persona 5, you have a hard deadline. It was always in the top corner of the screen showing you 10 days until, in this scenario that we were shown, you are expelled from school. So you have to stop yourself from being expelled from school, and you have 10 days exactly to do so. And it seemed like in order to do so, you had to jump into the dungeon that exists inside of this teacher who wants to expel you somehow. Another thing that was left kind of unclarified, but you jump into this teacher and do a heist to apparently save your skin and not get kicked out of school.
So one of the cool new things about the dungeons in Persona 5 is that stealth seems to be really heavy. We kind of watched as the characters would creep around to try and sneak up on shadows.
Yeah, like in past Persona games, if you can get the drop on a shadow, you get a slight advantage at the start of combat. The transition from the dungeon exploration parts into combat is so slick. That was like probably my favorite thing about this whole video is you just jump up on them, rip their mask off, and then they turn into the monster that you are fighting, and you're just fighting them. In combat, there's a lot of stuff that's actually changed. In addition to the 4 main elemental types, there is now psychokinetic damage, is how it was described to us. Psi damage. Nuclear damage is back, I think, from past Persona games. So if you can hit an enemy with the elemental damage type that it's weak against, you will knock them down and get an extra turn. If you knock down the entire other team, it moves into what's called Hold Up, which is sort of where you get the opportunity to jump in for a dogpile attack. But if you can knock them all down, instead of jumping in and doing a bunch of damage as a group altogether, you can also have a conversation with the enemies that you're fighting. And this is one of the ways, it's not clear if it's the only way, but it's one of the ways how you get new personas. It seems like there is a lot of new stuff. There's definitely a lot of like returning mechanics that it's been so like info light on what's actually going to be in Persona 5, which is crazy because the game's out in Japan pretty soon.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that like it's not going to lose all the stuff that people really like about Persona, like the life sim stuff. It seems like all that is definitely going to be maintained while getting some cool new dungeon exploration and combat features in there too. Yeah. But again, we didn't learn a lot. We're doing this video because it was the game I was looking forward to the most, and this is literally all we were able to wring out of E3 with our hands.
Though, seeing the game in person, though, it's incredible how slick it looks. Like,
it's slick as hell, and the detail.
So much style. Yeah.
Every like user interface thing is like the coolest it could possibly look. Like I know they're putting a lot of detail work into it. I just I want to have it.
Get it.
That's all we learned about Persona 5 here at E3 2016. Hopefully we'll learn more at maybe PAX, maybe Tokyo Game Show. I don't know. Well, at Tokyo Game Show, it'll be out in Japan, so we'll definitely know a lot about it then. But if you want to hear more about the stuff we're seeing here at E3 2016, stay tuned on Polygon.com or YouTube.com/Polygon, where our videos live.